Today on the podcast we carry on with part 2 of our series Don't Die in Shackles, looking at the work of Mencius and his work on the unpredictability of life and how to turn the theory of goodness into a daily action. If you're listening on your usual podcast app, then welcome back. It'll have been a month since the previous episode, and you may want to refresh yourself as to the first part of this podcast. Haven't heard it yet? Then shimmy your way over to your podcast feed and listen into podcast 3 in this series, the first part of Don't Die in Shackles. Otherwise, this won't make a whole lot of sense to you. So today we continue where we left off in the last episode, where we asked how can we waste less time and energy worrying, fretting over the insecurities of life, and can an art like Tai Chi be of help? Or is it best to leave it where it traditionally lies, in the fields of martial arts, mindfulness, or internal health? Today we carry on with the help of Mencius and his work on the unpredictability of life and his advice to stand beyond the shadow of the falling wall. Welcome to part 2, Don't Die in Shackles. So how is it that we can live without fear? How do we nurture greater generosity in ourselves and in others, impart greater trust, eschew dominance, ask rather than answer, listen rather than speak? Easy words to utter, I know, especially when narrating a podcast. It's easy to throw out catchy phrases and quotes, easy to post a Lao Tzu slogan on Pinterest, easy these days to commit to social change by signing an online petition. But this is not what I mean, nor what Mencius is saying. You don't need to go on a retreat, subscribe to a cult, or join a philosophical school to find such answers. You don't need to earn a Bill Gates fortune to become generous. These qualities depend as much as to what you don't have than what you do. Forget the grand gestures, the grand donations, and instead focus on the small moments, for we are small people after all, on a small planet in a rather small solar system. Recognizing our smallness can help in taking action, taking small steps, in showing people you care, showing how to share, showing how to engage in this life of unpredictability. The Chinese philosopher Mencius wrote that everyday events continue to happen to us. These events are often outside our control, despite our best plans, despite writing our most thorough to-do list, despite completing our most detailed spreadsheets. Some things, despite all we do, just happen, and these things don't always turn out well. The strangest of people get elected into power. Foods contain the most unwelcome of ingredients. Referendums are prohibited in some countries, celebrated in others. Some people die too early, others live far too long. Mencius called this the unpredictability of life, and although we can't always control these events, we can control how we respond and how we interact with these endless streams of unpredictability. For unless we learn to do this, he said, we will live a life controlled by the things that happen to us. the things we cannot control or predict, and our fate will be to die in shackles. Let's look at an example. In most martial arts, we learn that when someone strikes out, we block, or we parry, or we instinctively just strike back. It's the trained reflex, the conditioned response. If you press your button, I'll press mine. This training to respond in kind unleashes the worst in ourselves, and in turn unleashes the worst in others. But in Tai Chi, we are taught something else. We are taught a third option, and that is to yield. Yielding is an interesting concept. It doesn't mean that when someone strikes you, you will accept it like a sponge. It doesn't mean you take a blow to your head by absorbing a punch with your teeth or your eye, but neither do you strike back unhesitatingly, instinctively, like a reflex. For either of these responses are what Mencius called standing under a falling wall and then saying it was your fate to be killed by that wall. Instead, he suggests we learn to step out from beneath the falling wall, to step out from its shadow and live in the light. In Tai Chi, that is yielding. Combine the element of yielding with the philosophy of timing, known as Wu Wei, and you get to choose not only how to respond, but how to live. Mencius tells us, learn to work with everything that comes your way. Make time act and always reward people for the things they do, for this is how to implement change. It's easy and you can begin right now. Not only once the party has voted on its politics, not only when the myth of trickle-down economics finds its slippery way into your pay packet, not only when the king resigns and a republic is declared, not only when the referendum goes your way, not only when the supermarkets finally agree to implement sensible packaging, but now. Mencius said, we must resolve to become the best human being we can be, not because of what will eventually happen or what eventually we will get out of it or what we will eventually earn, but simply in order to do good, and in the act of doing good, set an example to those around us. Little by little, small token effort by small token effort. Nothing grandiose, just small actions that we can take each moment of each day that turn the moment into a general good. For Mencius, one person can effect change. Think Martin Luther King, think Gandhi, think Jon Snow. And together, by choosing unity over division, by seeing what we have in common over what separates us, we can choose a life without fear. I know you wanted to hear how to eradicate world poverty, cleanse the oceans of plastic, denuclearize the world, and overthrow capitalism with a system based on fairness and mutual support rather than cutthroat competition and corruption. Can't promise you'll get that straight away with just a smile or being good to the people who are consistently mean to you, but don't despair. All good things in time. And remember, it's better to be actively engaged, for if not, your fate is to live under the shadow of the falling wall. So yes, aim high, but remember the small steps. Take care of yourself, take care of others. Give attention to that which you do on a daily level. That which directly, immediately contributes to constructing better communities around you, and that will inspire others to follow, just so none of us have to die in shackles. Next month, another theme, another approach, and who knows, another person altogether. Make sure you've subscribed to the podcast. Thanks for listening, thanks for your time and attention. Got something to say? You know where to find me.